Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
You asked, and we heard you, America.
Real America's Voice is coming to iHeartMedia.
Yes, Real America's Voice is now breaking through the white noise of the mainstream media.
Just download the iHeart app, and you'll have all of us. America.
Real America's Voice is coming to iHeartMedia.
Yes, Real America's Voice is now breaking through the white noise of the mainstream media.
QR code and start streaming Rav anywhere you want.
Real America's Voice, available whenever you need us.
It's never been easier to stay connected with the voices you trust.
Rav on iHeart means you can take us with you wherever you go.
This is huge. The truth on iHeart. Ready when
America's Voice Live. Our Real America's Voice team is going places others won't.
We need to take cover that was incoming into Israeli territory.
To show you what they don't want you to see.
It's still a disaster. What's the latest?
They call these street releases. You've got hundreds of people being dropped off. It's getting worse.
We're the nation's fastest growing news program for a reason.
real journalism.
They're all marching down to the White House.
Sounds to me, Ben, like they won't be happy until Israel doesn't exist.
Real American news.
America is under chemical warfare attack. Fentanyl is the weapon.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
I appreciate you guys very, very much.
This is America's Voice Live with Steve Gruber.
All right, welcome to America's Voice Live. Glad to have you here. We're expecting Donald Trump in the next few minutes in the Oval Office to sign an executive order on transgender sports and whether men should be allowed in women's sports. We start here today in a bold and unprecedented move. President Donald Trump has unveiled a visionary plan to transform the Gaza Strip into a hub of prosperity and peace, announced during a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The president detailed his strategy to take over the Gaza Strip, clear it of hazardous remnants of conflict, and rebuild it into what he envisions as the Riviera of the Middle East. Listen to this.
I also strongly believe that the Gaza Strip, which has been a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades and so bad for the people anywhere near it, and especially those who live there, and frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time. Being in its presence just has not been good, and it should not go through a process of rebuilding and occupation by the same people that have really stood there and fought for it and lived there and died there and lived a miserable existence there. Instead, we should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and there are many of them that want to do this, and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This can be paid for by neighboring countries of great wealth. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12. It could be numerous sites, or it could be one large site. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
It was a stunning announcement, an initiative that reflects President Trump's commitment to something different. Trying something different in foreign policy, aiming to replace decades of turmoil and death with an opportunity. By investing into the reconstruction of Gaza, the administration seeks to foster stability, he says, and economic growth in a region long plagued by strife. He also believes it will be so changed that the people of Gaza won't want it to go back. Listen.
It's too dangerous for people. Nobody can go there. It's too dangerous. Nobody wants to be there. Warriors don't want to be there. Soldiers don't want to be there. How can you have people go back? You're saying go back into Gaza now? The same thing's going to happen. It'll only be death. The best way to do it is you go out and you get beautiful, open areas with the sunlight coming through, and you build something nice.
It will be death, he says, right? But as expected, not everyone is on board with this bold vision, including Republican Senator Rand Paul, for one, and the nation of Saudi Arabia for another. Of course, it may be a negotiating tool as well for Donald Trump, and until we know more, a lot more, it's hard to say how this might play out. We will, of course, keep you informed going forward, and we'll see what the big stunning announcement is today. It seems to be one just about every day. Meanwhile, the left has erupted in outrage in several other areas, but nothing has lit the left's hair on fire quite like the decision to pause the spending of USAID, which, of course, is the United States Agency of International Development. The agency has refused for years to disclose how it spends money and gone so far to respond to members of Congress. Senator Joni Ernst says she's been trying to figure out where all this money goes, billions of dollars, for years, but they play a game of hide and seek. She says it's time for the curtain to be ripped back. Listen.
I have been on USAID's case for years now, going back several years, where I was trying to investigate the expenditures for humanitarian aid, primarily when it came to the war in Ukraine. And what my team encountered was absolute obstruction and lies coming out of USAID. They did everything possible to stop me from accessing their records to understand where our taxpayer money was going. House, and we started a formal congressional investigation. And even after that, they really pushed back, only allowed us access to a small amount of data. But what we found was extreme expenditures on the part of USAID with very little data-driven results. We have seen money funded in the Wuhan Institute of Virology through dollars steered by USAID on dangerous coronaviruses. We saw how that turned out. We've seen funding going to Morocco for pottery classes, tourism in Lebanon, of all places, even when the State Department was advising against travel. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, she forgot the Colombian transgender studies and the DEI efforts in Bosnia, but, you know, I digress. What are some of the things that caught attention of the Trump administration and DOGE led by Elon Musk, which is tasked with ending wasteful spending? Well, the Democrats, they're melting down over all of this. That Elon Musk and his team would actually audit all the reckless spending of the United States government. I mean, they absolutely lost it on Capitol Hill yesterday. Let me give you an example.
Republicans, that we will not take this. We will fight back. Fight back. Fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and God has shut down the Senate. We are at war. Anytime.
Yeah, she was in the full-on spiral there now. Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts, she's mad as hell that her cash cow is getting audited. Yeah, how dare Elon Musk look at the expenditures of USAID? Listen.
In the building behind me, Elon Musk is seizing power from the American people. We are here to fight back. A few months ago.
Yeah, she's there to fight back, but let me be completely transparent with you, which she is not. USAID and $40 billion, which is bigger than an intelligence agency in Washington, is spending money on all these crazy things. And yet these are the same people that wanted to hire 87,000 IRS agents to audit you. They don't want USAID audited. They want you, the American taxpayer, audited. And if you think that was crazy, let's take it to a new level of crazy. Here's Maxine Waters.
This is our country. This is not Elon Musk's country. This is not Trump's country. This is our country. We deserve to have decent jobs. We deserve to have the respect. We deserve to be treated in a way that all Americans should be treated. And so let me just tell you now, I have Elon Musk's major office in my district. He won't even meet with the local elected officials. He said he was going to tunnel under from his office all the way to...
Elon Musk refuses to meet with Maxine Waters. I, for one, am shocked. I don't know why he wouldn't meet with such a reasonable individual to discuss her concerns. Yeah, to hear the Democrats tell her putting a 90-day freeze on USAID spending is unconstitutional, and some, like Bill Gates, go full-blown panic by claiming millions will die. He said that on The View. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Congressman Tim Burkett of Tennessee outlined why people are supporting an end to the insane spending because it needs to stop. Listen.
I turn to that because it has been Washington is really changing. Tell us your sense of things, just 10, 12 days in, 14 days into the president.
Well, the interesting thing is, we talked about this USAID stuff before and just the abuses there. And the interesting thing now is the media, that they've gravely underestimated the conservative base, or just decent Americans that don't want their money, even liberals, they don't want their money spent on this. And I salute you for it, because our great-grand...
It is out of control, all of this spending. And it seems the Democrats are propaganda of, my God, people are going to die if we shut down USAID. It's a 90-day freeze, folks. They're not shutting down USAID, though maybe they should. My understanding, it's a 90-day freeze. Let's take a step back and say, wait a second. Do we want to sponsor transgender dance transgender operations on children in Guatemala? $2 million was set aside for that. No, we don't want that to happen. $40 billion. We want to make sure that we have this under control. And no matter how many Coronas Chuck Schumer drinks, how many bowls of guac he gobbles up, we don't care about what they have to say out in front of the United States Capitol. We care about what's happening with our money. That's what Doge is about, is to bring back common sense to the United States and bring sanity back to spending. It's pretty much that simple. Trump and his team stand firm, saying this plan isn't about tearing down USAID. It's about real change and accountability. While critics panic over the aid freeze, reality is simple. Americans deserve to know where their money is going. For too long, billions have disappeared, no transparency. And now, Donald Trump with Elon Musk helping, there's an audit underway. And this is just the first department. Wait till we get into the IRS, the Department of Education, the Defense Department, and start looking at how money's really being spent. That's where it's going to get interesting. All right, we're going to take a break here. Look, Donald Trump is going to come into the Oval Office here in the next few minutes, we're told, and sign an executive order taking men out of women's sports. More common sense that the far left will yell about. The Democrats themselves, they don't like it either. We'll be right back on America's Voice Live.
Why is Navage trusted by millions?
Before Navage, I was not living my best life because I could not breathe. Constant nasal congestion, constant blowing of the nose. The huge difference is the fact that Navage pulls it out. It's very gentle in the sense of when that suction happens, it's literally grabbing that water and that mucus and it's bringing it out into this tank. It's worth every penny that you pay for it. This product changed my life.
Available at major retailers or online at Navage.com.
In a crisis, your number one need is food. But here's the good news. 4 Patriots is offering a special buy one, get 2 free deal on its best-selling 72-hour survival food kits. Hurry, go to 4patriots.com now.
If anyone has told you that gaining weight, feeling tired, and struggling with nagging digestive and joint issues is just a part of getting older, they are wrong. My name is Dr. Stephen Gundry, and after years of struggling with these same issues, I found a new way to support my health at home by making one simple change to my diet. It's called BioComplete 3. BioComplete 3 works by restoring your gut health from the inside out. This is a major part of how I lost 70 pounds and have kept the weight off for 25 years. It's not just me. This is working for everybody. Joe helped his gut health, and you can see the changes, not just how he looks on the outside, but how much better he felt on the inside.
I was 270. I'm now 140. It just feels amazing. Thank you, Dr. Gundry.
I helped all these people achieve incredible changes to their weight, their digestion, even their skin. And for a limited time, you can try BioComplete 3 risk-free for 90 days. Go to guthealthsecret.com.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. Don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-899-6246.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
President Donald Trump has implemented a 10% tariff on Chinese imports. Happened at midnight on Tuesday. Escalating trade tensions between the U.S. and China. In response, China has imposed targeted tariffs on U.S. goods and initiated an anti-monopoly investigation into Google. Now, despite these developments, President Donald Trump has expressed no urgency to engage in talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Leaving the door open for potential negotiations, Trump had this to say.
Mr. President, what's your reaction to China's retaliatory tariffs?
It's fine. It's fine. We're going to do very well against China and against everybody else. Right now, they've taken advantage of the Biden administration like I've never seen. I've never seen. The deficit with China is about $1 trillion. Think of it, $1 trillion. They're using our money to build their military. And Biden let that happen.
All right, joining me now is the CEO of the American Culture Project, John Tillman. John, welcome to the program. We saw Mexico back up when they were threatened with 25% tariffs, almost immediately offered 10,000 Mexican troops to the border, which, by the way, have already begun arriving. Canada, the same thing. Canada offered $1.3 billion, 10,000 more personnel on the border, and other concessions, including a fentanyl czar. China, a little bit more hard-nosed at this point, but look, Donald Trump is not wrong when he says we have natural resources, timber, fresh water, farmland, oil, natural gas, you name it. We've got it mostly in spades. And if we're smart about it, we don't need the natural resources from any of these countries, do we?
No, we don't. And in fact, I think it's so interesting. I say this as a free trader. I'd like all tariffs to be zero, but China is a strategic competitor with us. And the idea that they're going to raise tariffs is really going to force America and American entrepreneurs to start onshoring manufacturing again, or move it to a more friendly climate country. And I think that's a good thing for the country. And the other thing that's been so fascinating, Steve, about the tariff discussion is the overreactions, the knee-jerk reactions of hostility from both the left and the right. To be honest with you, we ought to really see how these things play out. The rest of the world has been, especially Europe, Canada, have been imposing tariffs on American exports for decades. And we've never done anything about it. I think we ought to give the policy a chance to thrive and see if it works, despite the doomsayers.
Yeah. And it's not just American companies, John. I saw a couple of companies in Canada who know that 80% of their business comes from the United States. And they said, well, hey, we were thinking about putting a new factory in Ontario, another putting a factory in Quebec. And they said, if the case is going to be tariffs and we're not going to move, then our companies are going to move to the United States because that's where the bulk of our customers are. So you have that change. And if you go back to Lyndon Johnson, he put a 25% tariff on light trucks made outside the United States. That's why Toyota and Nissan build their trucks in the United States, because sometimes tariffs force business back home, don't they?
Yes, and I look at all the European and Asian manufacturing of automobiles that is now done in the United States, providing jobs right here in America. I think that's what's interesting about some of these retaliatory efforts is the business owners in their own country will start to relocate, as you pointed out. That, too, is good for America. Again, I'm a free trader. I would prefer zero tariffs, but I just think we ought to give this a chance. We've been getting our tails kicked for decades with we're free trade while the rest of the world has planned trade and tariffs imposed on us. It seems to me playing hardball is the right way to go. And it'll be really interesting to see how China can survive this, because China is much more dependent on American consumerism than we are, certainly. That's right. On what we buy from China.
China does have some leverage points, though. Pharmaceuticals, for example. 90% of the pharmaceuticals that arrive in the United States come by way of China and India. So China has leverage points if they want to pull those strings. I don't think they do. I think it would be a terrible mistake on their part. But right now, Donald Trump is using tariffs as foreign policy. And with Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, and Canada, it has worked. Panama, too. I think China does come around. I don't have my crystal ball here, John, but I think China comes around because I think, as you pointed out, they have no choice.
Pharmaceuticals are a great example. Nobody, of course, wants us to suddenly be without our pharmaceutical supplies for people that have life-sustaining prescriptions, of course. On the other hand, what this tells us is that there's a time for American companies to start investing in onshoring or safe shoring that production. We should not have that much dependency on China for such a vital product that people's lives depend on. And I think we're going to see that policy be implemented, and businesses are going to be encouraged to do just that. And that will further
let me ask you this, John,
and reduce their leverage.
But let me ask you this. The tariffs with Mexico and Canada were put on hold for 30 days. Critics say that Donald Trump got almost nothing in return. Well, I would disagree with that, because he got a big win on the international stage both times, it seems to me. And the same was true when Colombia said, hey, we'll send the presidential plane to get those illegals and take them home. Those are big wins on the international stage. Everybody sees it. Everybody sees America winning. You can try to downplay it on the left, but the fact is it's working right now. My question is, what happens in 30 days? Do Mexico and Canada continue to toe the line, or do they try to fight us? I don't think they can. I don't think they can financially fight back against America. And I think that's why Donald Trump is using these tariffs in such an effective manner. I'll give you the last word.
I think the 30 days was a desperate plea by both Canada and Mexico to ask for time to negotiate a fair accommodation that allows them to save face and have some level of sort of branding respect, if you will, at the same time as accommodating what President Trump and the American people want, which is a fair deal and an end of illegal immigrants and an end to the trafficking of children and women, as well as fentanyl crossing the border. Those are the deliverables that I think we are going to see handled correctly. And there's details to be worked out. Trump dropped the hammer, and now we're going to work on the details, and then the hammer will be removed in a fair way is what I expect.
Yeah. Well, we need to work on details. It's only day 16.
It's
John,
amazing, right? It feels like a year.
Apparently.
It's a rocket ship. It's like a Musk rocket ship.
Yeah, it's been a good year for most presidents, maybe a good term for most presidents, and we're only at day 16. John Tillman, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
All right, up after the break, President Trump is freezing money on foreign aid, and the left could not hate it more. It's actually kind of weird. We'll have that up next on America's Voice Live.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. Options start at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-538-4499 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-538-4499. There's no risk or obligation. That's 1-800-538-4499. Call now.
They say America doesn't make things like it used to. Well, say that to Linda, or Maurice, or Jep, or Whitney. At Allegiance Flag Supply, we do things not because they're easy, but because they're right. Every stitch, every stripe, every star, made by Americans, for the America you believe in. Allegiance Flag Supply, made the American way.
All right, welcome back to America's Voice Live. We're keeping an eye on the White House, where we expect President Donald Trump in the next little bit to come out and sign an executive order to end the possibility of men participating in women's sports at the high school and university level. We'll keep an eye on that for you. We'll jump to that as soon as he enters the room. Now, as we talked about a bit earlier, in a decisive move to prioritize American interests, President Trump has implemented a 90-day freeze on over $4 billion in aid, aiming to ensure the taxpayer, that's $40 billion in aid, actually, aiming to ensure that taxpayer dollars are utilized effectively and aligned with U.S. foreign policy objectives. This pause for a comprehensive review of numerous humanitarian and development programs, ensuring they serve the nation's goals of putting America first. That's the simple plan here. Joining me now to discuss DOGE cutting wasteful spending is the Executive Vice President at the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. And I cannot believe that we allow Elon Musk to go in and address waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, how could anything more outrageous happen, Brandon? I mean, how can the president allow us to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse? Help me here.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that we actually have a fresh set of eyes, somebody with real world business success, that acumen that we need in the federal government. But of course, as soon as that happens, everyone goes bananas and thinks this is the end of the world. Listen, I do think we need to make sure we're following the books here, making sure that as we downsize these agencies, as we make these cuts, we do not expose ourselves to legal challenges, or we do not do so in a way that can be undone by future administrations. And that may require some involvement of Congress. But fundamentally, what we're talking about here is downsizing the most efficient enterprise in our entire country, that is the federal government, finding efficiencies, bringing the type of know-how that Musk has from the private sector into the government where it is so sorely needed.
Yeah, you bring in the best people. And it's remarkable that if Alex Soros shows up, the Democrats are like, well, he's a good billionaire. Elon Musk shows up, bad billionaire. Look, they don't want to be audited. That's the bottom line. These are the same people, by the way, that wanted 87,000 new IRS agents to audit you and me, but they don't want the USAID audited or anything else for that matter. Department of Education, Department of Energy, Department of Transportation. Wait till the audits get into those places. It's going to be serious, isn't it?
You know, looking in the way back machine, back to the George W. Bush administration, one of the best things that he did was implement this part. It was called the Program Assessment and Rating Tool. And what it did was went agency by agency, said which ones are performing up to standard, not many were, and actually provided them with some strategies and goals in order to get the ship back in the right direction. Of course, one of the first actions of the Obama administration was to shut that down. Biden had no interest for it. I'd really like to see DOGE spearhead something very similar, if not the same thing. Let's hold these agencies and departments accountable. Let's make sure all of them can pass an audit before they come to Congress and say, we need more money, we need to expand our mission, we need to do more. We really need to hold these folks' feet to the fire, Congress, DOGE, the White House, everybody, because the government has grown out of control.
Well, and you look at, transgender studies in Colombia, transgender care-affirming surgeries in Guatemala, that's $2 million. And the Democrats trying to say there was no such thing as the $50 million in condoms to Gaza, but there was. It got stopped in its tracks. But these are just outrageous items. Some of the items are $10,000. Some of them are $50 million. But the point is, in a country where we're $36 trillion in debt, just burning money for absolutely ludicrous ideas is unacceptable, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. And we've known about these problems for so long, for decades. We've seen these line items going back, to the Grace Commission under Reagan. We've known that this waste is here, but we haven't had the courage. We haven't had the people in power that are willing to do something about it. And sometimes they say, well, it's only $5 million when we're talking about, a $7 trillion budget. Who cares? Well, if you let those efficiencies start to grab hold, they grow, they multiply, and all of a sudden those $5 million line items or $10 million line items that seem small become $10 billion line items. And that's why we really can't allow this happening.
Well, the hubris, the arrogance of USAID, for example, saying you're not allowed to look at our books. We're independent. No, you're part of the executive branch, and you do have a right to have your books looked at. In fact, we have a right to examine the books. We are the American taxpayers. We have a right to question what you're spending it on, and we need explanations. Anyhow, Brandon, thank you for being here as always, my friend. More in the future.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Still keeping an eye on the Oval Office and the White House to see when President Trump might come. While we may not have won this election, the fight to restore our great country is just beginning. We'll get back to that after a break on America's Voice Live.
America has the greatest economy in the world, but I think most of us would agree we have a problem. The cost of almost everything is up. Home prices, rent, food, insurance. Every sector has taken a hit, including automotive. More Americans are keeping their cars for longer, including me. And one way that we can make life more affordable is CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company.
CarShield's rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau and named America's most trusted auto protection company.
With CarShield, drivers could save thousands on covered parts and systems like your engine, transmission, entertainment system, and more. It's the protection that I trust, just like these other happy customers.
With CarShield, saving the $2,700 has been a real blessing. I love CarShield. It is my lifeline.
Our life as nurses, we just step up and we help people, and it's really nice when somebody steps up and helped us. If our car breaks down, CarShield administrators have our back.
If your car's out of warranty, it's not a matter of if it'll break down, but when. Call CarShield before it's too late and protect yourself from expensive car repairs.
CarShield is ready to help year-round nationwide with thousands of vetted shops to choose from, or their concierge service to help you find a mechanic near you. Unlike other companies, they don't just send you to the cheapest place in town. I trust CarShield, and so should you.
I have filed a total of over 5 claims, and my price from when I signed up never went up. And with the age of my car, that is security.
CarShield is a U.S. company supporting hardworking Americans save over $1 billion in expensive auto repair costs. More of us are keeping our cars for longer, So give CarShield a call now before a breakdown happens. Call now.
Call CarShield now before a breakdown and see how they're saving drivers money on covered auto repairs. Call 800-635-5126. 800-635-5126.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are now offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. And if you're not happy, return them for a full refund.
All right. As we get back into it, we are keeping an eye on the White House. Donald Trump running a few minutes late. No surprise there as we keep an eye on where he is right now. Right now we're joining Zachary Marshall, who's joining me now as the Justice Department announcing for me. I'm just keeping an eye on things over here. Zachary, nice to see you today. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us. And the prompter went wild. I lost it. What's on your mind?
Right now I'm paying attention to Prime Minister Netanyahu's visit to the United States today. He's in Arlington, Virginia as we speak, and I think it's significant that he's the first foreign leader to visit Trump during his second administration. It shows that the anti-Semitism problem we see happening on college campuses is also connected to the hatred towards Israel, and President Trump his administration is showing strength both domestically and abroad in combating Jew hatred, whether on our college campuses or in the Middle East.
Well, you know, it's the culture wars were a big portion of this election, clearly. Foundational. That's why we're waiting for the president to come in for this executive order on men and women's sports. It was these protests on college campuses, Jew hating, as you put it, that was allowed to continue, that had no place. The anti-Semitism, the racism that Democrats like to point at Republicans, and yet the empirical evidence is something quite different, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and that is completely connected to the executive order Trump is about to sign, keeping men out of women's sports, and the federal government's new policy that there are only two genders. These far left ideologies and gaslighting were all connected. It was the people who believe in multiple genders that were also protesting against Israel on college campuses. So we have to look at this movement and see how it's connected. Anti-Semitism was so much the glue that hold all these different leftist activists together and fuel their hatred, not just of Israel and Jews, but also of American values of Western civilization. They started with anti-Israel protests, but they also have been taking down American flags too. So we cannot lose sight of that.
Absolutely true. You know, so you've got these. Well, the indoctrination, and that's part of what's happening today and what we're talking about here. If you continue, I listened to Caroline Leavitt in the briefing room here just a short time ago, and one of the reporters asked her, well, what about the schools that ignore this executive order on men and women's sports? And she says, it's going to be federal law in about an hour and a half. I suggest they don't do that. I mean, there's the answer. If we're going to put in policies in place to protect students against anti-Semitism, against men and women's sports, against whatever it might be that's been pushed by the left and the radical left. Because here's the thing about all of these items. None of them would pass muster on a ballot, not even in deep, dark blue Vermont or Massachusetts or California. Put it on the ballot. Let the people decide. You'll lose 9-1, 10-1, 12-1. And they know it. So they try to push these things through. But what I don't get, Zachary, is why. All it does is alienate people. The Democrat Party has no idea what they stand for, except for little tiny things on the fringe anymore. And that's why it's a party in deep despair, because who do they connect with anymore? Honestly.
I mean, the Democrats, I think, have alienated themselves, and all that's left is a remnant that is the far left fringe that we see now in higher education. These people are committed to the leftist revolution, and that's why they hold on to things that are not only just untrue, but are also deeply unpopular and counter to what America stands for. So we have to keep vigilant on how higher education is going to respond to that. Campus Reform Today was just reporting on offices across the country that changed their name and hope no one notices that it's still DEI. Despite the DEI bans we see at the state level and at the federal government, they are going to try and get around all of Trump's executive orders, despite what he does.
And here's one more thing, Zach. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but the pet. Say that again. Okay, we're going to jump out. Zachary, thank you for your time. Yeah. I understand Donald Trump is entering the room. There's some big executive orders we talked about on taking men out of women's sports at the high school and college level. Let's join.
Thank you very much. This is a nice crowd, isn't it, huh? You've been waiting a long time for this. So have I. Actually, it was so ridiculous. But here we are. And this doesn't have to be long. It's just all about common sense. Doesn't have to be long. In a few moments, I'll sign a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports. It's about time. Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. But before going further, I want to share some very exciting news from our military. After years of shrinking force numbers at levels that nobody has ever seen before, 4 years of this we went through, and missed recruiting targets every single month, it was just announced that in December, the U.S. Army had its single best recruitment in more than 15 years. Thanks. Every single day, nearly 350 new soldiers enlisted to defend our nation, and they're very, very happy to have done so. We've done lots of interviews, and we asked why this was taking place now, and they just said there's a spirit about our country that they haven't seen in many, many years, and I happen to agree with that. But it really is clear proof that the spirit is sweeping our armed forces, and we have a great leader in Pete. As you know, we all know Pete so well. He's going to be fantastic, and so many of our great heroes, and people are starting to understand what hero is all about. So that is something that is very important. We've gotten the woke lunacy out of our military. And now we're very importantly getting it out of women's sports. That's taking place very strongly. So in recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you, huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. It would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories, that's a lot, and invaded more than 11,000 competitions designed for women. Last year, a male cyclist posing as a woman competed in the 800-mile Arizona Trail Race, a very big deal in cycling, and obliterated the women's course record by nearly 5.5 hours. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it, huh? 5.5 hours. So, but you have to hear the weightlifting records. You think that's bad? The weightlifting's worse. In 2023, a man in women's powerlifting broke 2 world records and outlifted his closest female opponent in one event by 440 pounds. And they continue to defend themselves, Mr. Congressman. You know that, right? They continue to defend themselves. We hope they continue onward because I don't think we can lose a race. This was one of the big reasons that we all won, and it's one of the big reasons that we had a record, a landslide like they haven't seen before, very often anyway. And who could forget last year's Paris Olympics where a male boxer stole the women's gold medal after brutalizing his female opponent so viciously that she had to forfeit just after 46 seconds, and she was a championship fighter. And actually they had 2 women or 2 people that transitioned, and both of them won gold medals, and they won them very convincingly. But all of that ends today because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. Should have been done long ago, actually. Thank you. Thank you very much. With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding. So this will effectively end the attack on female athletes at public K-12 schools and virtually all U.S. colleges and universities. I don't think we've missed anything, but if we do, we'll make it up very quickly with an order, and I don't think we will at all. I want to, before we go on, I want to thank so many people that have worked so hard in the political establishment, and they're before me largely, and I think I'm gonna miss a few. It always happens when you do this, but it's just one of those things. But we have many senators here, many governors here, many state attorneys generals here. They're all over the place, actually. I see. Some of them went after me, but they failed. And they're really friends, and they're friends of women's sports, that I can tell you. So Senator Marsha Blackburn, where's Marsha? Hi. Senator Katie Britt. Thank you, Katie. Mike Lee, where's Mike? Mike. I love his new haircut. I love that haircut, Mike. He just said the hell with it, right? I think you look great. Senator Cynthia Lummis. Cynthia, where are you? Cynthia, hi, Cynthia. Doing a good job. And Roger Marshall. Thank you, Roger. Great. Mark Wayne Mullen, Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma. I don't know what it is, Oklahoma. I won 77 out of 77 counties. It's never been done. Second was Ronald Reagan, 56, right? Yeah. And Tommy Tuberville, a great coach. You know, his quarterback was named Mahomes. He was a great college coach. And I said, how good was he? He said, you don't want to know how good. He made me into a great coach. He's pretty good quarterback, right? Yeah, he was very good. He's a good guy, too. Also, governors, we have Governor Glenn Youngkin, Virginia. Thank you, Glenn. Good job. Bill Lee of Tennessee. Bill, thank you. Jeff Landry, Louisiana. Thank you, Jeff. Kim Reynolds of Iowa. Thank you. We're trying to move, education back to the States. You do know that. We're making a big move, and we're counting on Linda McMahon. And sitting next to you is the new Star is Born. Caroline, congratulations. You've done great. New Star. Star is Born. Patrick Morrissey. Patrick, congratulations. Great race. A great friend of mine, and he's really helped us at the border, done a great job, of Texas, Greg Abbott. Thank you, Greg. Jim Pillen, where are you? Jim, very good. Very good. Are you feeling good? He had a bad fall. You doing all right, huh? Good. You look great. Brad Little. Brad, thank you, Brad. Good job. Good job. Do you like education going back to your state? You'll make it top, right? Just so people understand, in the education world, we're ranked very, very poorly. We're 38, 39, and 40 out of 40 countries. We're at the bottom of the pack almost always, or very close to it. That just came out. We're 40 out of 40. And if we move it back to the states, I will guarantee you that if you take Idaho, you take Iowa, you take almost any of the states that I'm looking at right now, they'll be as good as Norway. You have Sweden, you have Denmark. I must say you have China that's very high in the pack, which is no longer, we can say it has to be a small area. China is very big, but they do a very good job. But we'll have at least 35 of our states that will be as good or better than any of those countries, and we have to get it done. Attorney General Steve Marshall. Steve, thank you very much. Steve, wherever you may be. General Tim Griffin. Thank you. Thank you. A person who was so wonderful. Brenna Bird, where are you? Brenna Bird. Thank you. She supported me before people wanted to support me, right, Brenna? Wow. Thank you very much. I appreciated it. Andrew Bailey, great job. Where's Andrew? Great stand-up, Andrew. One of the great attorney generals. Thank you very much. One of the greats, really. And Jason Miyares. Thanks, Jason. And now we get back to our members of Congress, and we'll go quickly, but it's a great group of people. Steve Scalise is right in front here. What a brave guy Steve is. Steve went through a lot, and he proved one thing to me, only one thing, that his wife loved him. His wife loves him because I went to the hospital that night, and he was not given even a shot, right, Mike? And I was with him, and I was with his wife, and she was devastated. She was really devastated. And I've been to, similar situations, not quite as bad, but the wives were not so devastated. And I can tell you that great wife of yours loves you. So anyway, and what you've done is incredible. The way you've come back, it's you look better now than you did before it happened. But nobody wants to go through that. Yeah, it's amazing. Tom Emmer doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Tom. Great job. Lisa McLean. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Hi. Good job. Virginia Fox. Hi, Virginia. Tim Wahlberg, Michigan. Tim, great. Jason Smith, great man on taxes. Great man on how are the taxes doing? Okay. We're going to get good things passed, I hope, right? Juan Siscomaris, Arizona. Where are you, Juan? Hello, Juan. Stand up, Juan. You look so good. You always look good. Kevin Kiley. Kevin, wherever you may be. What happened? How come he had no applause? Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert. Very much a leader in this. Thank you, Lauren. Kat Kamek, Florida. Thank you, Kat. Byron Donalds. He's doing good. Byron's doing good. Where is he? You're doing good, Byron. Laurel Lee. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you. Great job. Anna Paulina Luna. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Greg Stubbe hit a home run wearing a Trump cap. The only one to hit a home run out of the park during your crazy baseball game, right? I think I will come. I think I'll come. If you're playing, I'll come. Somebody that's very shy. This is a very shy person, and but she's trying to break out of it. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Victoria Sparts. Thank you, Victoria. Great job. Ashley Hinson. Ashley, thank you. Marionette Miller Meeks. Good job you did. Good job. Great job. Mary Miller. Hi, Mary. Julia Letlow. Hi, Julia. Claudia Tenney from New York. Claudia. Hi, Claudia. Hi. Great job. Nicole Maliatakis. Hi, Nicole. Good. Doing good. I see a great poll with you, Nicole. Michelle Fishbach. Thank you. Great job. Ann Wagner, Missouri. Thanks. Sherry Biggs, South Carolina. Thanks, Sherry. Great job. Nancy Mace. Where's Nancy? She's something. Oh, are you a believer in what we're doing, Nancy? Nancy takes it on right from the start, right? Would you like to say something? Would you like to say we're doing the right thing? Good. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy. Stephanie Bice, Oklahoma. Thanks, Stephanie. Diana Harshbarger. Thanks, Diana. Good job. Tim Burchett. Tim, I watched you on television the other day. You were unbelievable. You ripped that guy apart. Man, that poor guy, he started getting a little fresh with Tim, and Tim just ripped him apart. That was beautiful. I actually left a message. That's good. Great job, Tim. That was great. Monica De La Cruz. Monica. Ronnie Jackson. Ronnie. Dr. Ronnie. He's a doctor, a great admiral, and a great congressman, right? Pretty good. He has his choice. What do you like doing best, Ronnie? Who is the healthiest patient you ever had? You know why I liked him? The fake news asked, so doctor, he had Obama, Bush, and Trump in the White House. He was the White House doctor. And they asked him, who's the healthiest of the three? He said, it's not close. It's Donald Trump. And from that moment, I love this guy. Right? Thank you, Ronnie. Wesley Hunt from Texas. Hi, Wesley. Beth Van Dyne. Beth from Texas. Thanks, Beth. Burgess Owens, a great athlete, an NFL star. Ken Kiggins from Virginia. Thank you. Thank you, honey. Thank you very much, Jen. I appreciate it. Harriet Hageman, what a lawyer. One of the best, one of the most talented lawyers you'll ever see. What she did to her opponent was horrible. Let's see, who was her opponent? Let's see. Oh, does anybody remember her opponent? We tend to forget. We forgot that one, huh? And, you know, your speaker, I'm going to introduce him later anyway, but your speaker has been fantastic. Stand up, Mike. He's great. What a good man. A really good man. Also, some friends of ours, Sage Steele, has been very strong on the issue. Sage, thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. Tiffany Justice, Tina Deskovich, founders of Moms for Liberty, and they honored me, and it was a great honor. And thank you very much, both of you. Thank you. Heather Higgins, Andy Botner, Victoria Coley from Independent Women's Forum. It's a fantastic group of people that fought very hard on this issue. I think everybody in this room really fought very hard on this issue. Kim Fletcher, we know Kim. Debbie, I think Debbie's here. Crew Lidis from also Moms of America. And Penny Lance, of course, CEO of the Concerned Women for America. That is a lot of people. Thank you very much, Penny. Good job you do. That's a lot of people. Can I give here? Why don't you hold that? You sell it tonight. So, just to finish up, I'm directing the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who, by the way, is doing a fantastic job. In fact, he just left Panama. We're trying to take back the Panama Canal, little things like that. It'll all happen. But Marco is going to make clear to the International Olympic Committees there, and he's going to make it as clear as anybody can make it, that America categorically rejects transgender lunacy. We want them to change everything having to do with the Olympics and having to do with this absolutely ridiculous subject that we even have to talk about this subject. If you went back 10 years or 15 years and you would move forward and listen to this, you'd say, what the hell are they talking about? This is impossible. But you have people out there, Democrats, that are still totally in favor. They can't win the argument. They can't win a debate. They look like fools, and they continue to go on. And it's okay, because as long as they do this and open borders and all of the other things they talk about, transgender everything, all they want to do is transgender and men playing in women's sports and all of these crazy things. And if they continue, I think we're going to end up ultimately, it's not going to matter because we're never going to go along with them, and we're just going to keep winning elections, right, Mike? So when the Olympics comes to Los Angeles, I was responsible for getting the Olympics, and I said, oh boy, this is terrible because I got the Olympics and I won't be president. And then what happened is that an election, strange things happened in an election. So I missed 4 years, and now I have the Olympics. It was sort of circuitous. It was a circuitous situation. And we also have the World Cup coming, which is going to be fantastic. And we have, as you know, very importantly, 250 years coming. That's a big one next year. So that's a very big one. But in Los Angeles in 2028, my administration will not stand by and watch men beat and batter female athletes, and we're just not going to let it happen, and it's going to end, and it's ending right now, and nobody's going to be able to do a damn thing about it, because when I speak, we speak with authority. And for the same reason, just to make sure, I'm also directing our Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, who's also she's out there with you, Greg, a fantastic job. She's unbelievable. I was watching her riding yesterday on a horse. She was as good as anybody. She's very good. To deny any and all visa applications made by men attempting to fraudulently enter the United States while identifying themselves as women athletes, try and get into the games maybe where they are unable to get into the games. We're honored to be joined today by many incredible advocates for women's sports, including the brave swimmer at the forefront of this battle. And Riley Gaines is a person that I've been watching. She fought hard. Riley was a 12-time All-American. Well, that's pretty good. 12-time All-American who sacrificed countless hours in the pool just for a chance at the title. It's so important to her. She gave up everything and just gave everything she had. But then the league forced her to share a spot on the podium with a male swimmer who took her trophy while the media celebrated this stolen glory. And Riley is just a tremendous athlete, and it was a very unfair situation. I watched it. A lot of people watched it. It was ridiculous, frankly. But I want to thank Riley. She really has been in the forefront. People that aren't that well versed in this would say that she was the leader. And great job, Riley. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And also with us is another great champion for women, Peyton McNabb. In high school, Peyton was a rock star athlete. Where is Peyton? Where is Peyton? Oh, I like Peyton. Nice to see you. Good job. Good job. Looks like a good athlete to me. In high school, Peyton was a rock star athlete preparing for a future in college sports, but in one volleyball match, a much taller and stronger male spiked the ball right in her face, knocking her unconscious, partially paralyzing her right side and leaving her with a traumatic brain injury. And Peyton said it was 100% avoidable if only my rights as a female athlete had been more important than a man's feelings. And we can't let it happen, and it's not going to happen. Not going to happen anymore, Peyton. It's not going to happen. Are you okay? Are you good? I'm doing a lot better. Good. That's good. Thank you. We're also pleased to be joined by many incredible leaders on this issue. And as I mentioned before, Speaker Mike Johnson, and he has been so strong on this issue because he's a man of common sense. I mean, it really is. It's common sense more than anything else. So, Mike, thank you. Great job. Great job in everything. He's got the easiest job of any politician in history. He's got the nicest, like 200 and almost 20. It sort of varies between, depends on how many people I take from my administration. It goes up and down a little bit, but I promised I won't take any more. I just wanted to see how good he was. I was testing you. And we have some great people, but he's filling them up rapidly. He had some big wins the other day, very big wins the other day. But you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate it. We all appreciate it. And also the dozens of members of the House and Senate and governors that attorney generals, so many people, and the people outside that can't even get in. This room is packed. And, I offered to build a ballroom. I'm very good at building ballrooms. I build beautiful ballrooms. And I actually offered to build a ballroom for the White House. I was going to build it right there. This was going to be the reception room. And then I was going to build a beautiful, beautiful ballroom like I have at Mar-a-Lago, as beautiful as it can be. It was going to cost about $100 million. I offered to do it, and I never heard back. I offered to do it to the Biden administration, very active administration. They didn't hear back, and I said again and again, 3-4 times. I said to top people, and they just didn't know what to do. They sort of said, "This is good," but they had no idea. So I'm going to try and make the offer to myself, because we could use a bigger room, right, Marshall? We could use a bigger room. President, would you like to build? Yeah, I would. We could use at the White House. It would actually be a beautiful addition. It's going to cost nothing. I'll spend the whole thing myself. We'll do a big, beautiful room, but we could use it at the White House. You know what they do when they have a big ceremony? They put up a tent. And somehow I think we've outgrown the tent stuff, right? Don't you think? So we'll see if they can, we'll see if Trump will approve it. But the actions we're taking today are the latest in a sweeping effort to reclaim our culture and our laws from the radical left crusade against biological reality. On day one, I made it official, and I'm making it official policy of the United States government that there is, two genders. We have two genders. What might they be? Man and woman, right? Male and female. Male and female. Can't think of too many others, but it's pretty amazing. I rescinded federal funds to, and this is so important, to any program that promotes transgender ideology using taxpayer dollars. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. And last week, I effectively banned the chemical castration and surgical mutilation of minor children. Can you believe I even have to say that? I banned governor, I banned, that's just like, who would ever think we have to even say that? Last week I banned. Every day we're ending the extremism of the last 4 years. We have other things that are just as ridiculous, not having to do with the subject, but just as ridiculous. Open borders where people are allowed to pour in from all over the world, from jails and prisons and mental institutions and insane asylums, people that are very sick, people that are very evil, killers, murderers. Many of them murdered more than one person. And we have to justify the fact that we're moving them out. We are moving them out in tremendous numbers. Tom Homan and Christie are doing a fantastic job, and the governor and other governors too. But that we have to even fight for this stuff is just incredible. And the media doesn't want to talk about it because it's nothing they can talk about. It's just they just don't want to really talk very much about it. Serious problem, but we're doing a great job, and the people understand, and that's why we won in a landslide. They made it easy. And at some point, we have to hope they do come around, because we can never let this happen again. What's happened to our country, we can never let this happen again. So we are restoring sanity and common sense, very simply, to our government. We're defending the rights and safety and pride of the American people, including our great, great, great female athletes. What athletes you are, too, I tell you. And, I'm not allowed to say this politically. It could end my career. They're really beautiful people. These are beautiful people. But like everything else, it's a little bit different today. You're not allowed to say that, because if you call a woman or a girl beautiful, that's the end of your career. But let's take a chance on it, Mike. Let's take a chance. So I want to thank everybody for being here. It's fantastic. And this is sort of a big, big day. It shouldn't have even been necessary to take place. It started a long time ago, and we ended it today. And I'm going to sign the executive order right now, and everything I said will go into effect immediately, okay? Thank you. If you'd like to gather around me, I think I'm going to be okay. Come on. Come on. Hello. Secret Service is worried about them? If we have to worry about them, we have big problems. Okay, do you want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? Are you ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature, because this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Pretty good, huh? Okay?
Good. Now you're going to go out and win those events, right? Nice to see you all. Nice to see you. Great going, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you, kids. Here, take a pen.
Thank you.
I'll give some of these out, okay? Take a pen. Take a pen.
Thank you so much.
Where's Riley?
Stage participants have departed the room. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats until all stage participants have departed the room.
And that is President Trump at the White House signing No Men in Women's Sports executive order into law, nonetheless, on National Girls and Women in Sports Day. A really kind gesture there, Beau. I'm not sure if you saw it. He was handing out pens after he signed the executive order. Then he looked for Riley Gaines in the crowd to ensure that she got one of those pens. Of course, a very big vocal supporter of this executive order. Amongst a lot of people, this was an issue, Beau, that tested quite well with the American people, despite the narrative that the mainstream media tried to spew.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, I interviewed Riley several years ago, and I didn't know a lot about her, but to realize that she was competing, 12-time All-American, 12-time competitive athlete, and had to share a medal with a biological male who was competing against her. When I saw, I think what actually touched me, Michelle, was watching all those small girls gather around Donald Trump, because it seemed to me like it was like a new day, like a new future, that a restoration of sanity. I think we've got Brian Glenn in now. Brian, I want to get your thoughts on this. Would you call this a restoration of just common sense and sanity, that women can now compete in sports without having a male compete against them?
Beau, the last 90 seconds of this whole ceremony defines the very reason why he won this last election. It was all about Americans. It was about common sense. It was about one of the number one topics during the campaign season was to keeping men out of women's sports. It's that simple. And he often says that it's almost unthinkable that you have to even talk about that right now. But Beau, it's a wonderful day. And as you saw, the girls gathered around President Trump, I honestly, that is such a special moment, I think, in his presidency. And what a beautiful moment for America and any kind of female athlete right now.
Brian, it seems very unifying as well. We saw Speaker Johnson there. Of course, we did see Riley Gaines there. All age groups, mind you. It seems as if this is an issue that Americans all across the board want, because, of course, this is a women's safety issue at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is a safety issue at the end of the day. We've seen numerous examples of this in various sports. You've got some boxing, you've got volleyball, and there's other examples that just weren't told today. But I can't help but think, when I see all these young girls on the podium, how many future all-star high school athletes, collegiate athletes, and possible Olympic champions that we might have saved today through this act. So if you're watching us right now and you have a daughter, a loved one that plays sports, today is your day where the American dream could actually be achieved through this legislation, this executive order with President Trump. Now we just have to, get it into law and get it going. But it all starts today.
Well, and Brian, it becomes a scholarship issue as well. You think about, there's only a finite number of scholarships that women can have to go and compete collegiately, compete professionally, to get sponsorships, to compete in the Olympics. And Trump referenced this. We're getting the LA Olympics here soon in 2028, I believe. We're getting the World Cup. Trump is going to define what world sports or the future of world sports right here in America during his seemingly, as he said, unexpected second term, his circuitous term, I guess, as he called it. But think about about that. I mean, Brian, I'd love for you to just speak to not just the little girls gathered around him and the promise and the hope that they have, but scholarships, the opportunity. This is so different from DEI. This is actually equality. It has nothing to do with equity and placing someone there who shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, it can fundamentally change the course of someone's history and their future. Think about this for a sec. You're creating generational change for a large percentage of people in this country that might not have had that opportunity to go to college, might not have had that opportunity to perhaps qualify for an Olympic team. So this is just a special moment. And once again, I'll say this, Beau, promises made, promises kept.
Indeed.
We keep seeing it over and over each and every week. We get another example of why President Trump won that last election in such a huge fashion.
Brian, you're in D.C. right now, and I know there are a lot of protests, especially with Netanyahu's visit yesterday. Have you seen any protests over this executive order while you have been in D.C. over the past day?
That is a great question. I have not seen this particular protest for this particular subject. Now, with the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, last night, there was a sizable protest out front of Lafayette Park. Matter of fact, you could almost hear them inside the briefing room. So, but not for this. Now, I will say, after this is put into law and this is kind of hits the wire and everyone scrolls on the University of TikTok and they find out exactly what happened, and as the leftist social media starts to pull out their narrative, then you might be able to see a little bit more public display of protest. But right now, I have not seen that type of protest in regards to this.
Well, Brian, I know we got to let you go here in just about a minute, but I also want to say, I was listening to Trump speak. He was talking about he banned the castration and mutilation of minor children. This goes well beyond just women's sports.
Yeah.
This is much deeper than that, and that's why I say a restoration of sanity.
Yeah, this does. There is a bill right now, a Protect Children's Innocence Act, that needs to get on that desk of Speaker Johnson, needs to be passed, because that is basically making it a federal crime to perform any type of a transitioning surgery, wait for it, on minors. If you're under the age of 18, guess what? It's a felony. If you're 20, 21 years old and you want to do it, that's up to you. But we have got to protect kids. And believe it or not, Beau, there are Republicans right now in the House, and I would imagine in the Senate, that just can't get behind this. Perhaps after today, that narrative will change. When you see how popular this was today, that will be even bigger, Beau.
I agree. Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you for reporting there. And, it is a restoration of common sense. I think all they have to do, Michelle, is look at the picture, the video of those young girls, and I think maybe everyone will finally get it.
That in and of itself speaks volumes. Imagine telling your grandparents about this. This is common sense executive orders. We're undoing what the Biden administration has done. Well, coming up, Emily, Finn, and Beau had a chance to talk with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene about two new bills she's introducing. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you.
On streets across America, young people are homeless, abused, in danger. Covenant House is helping young people with nowhere else to turn. But the need is overwhelming. Please call or go online now with your gift of $19 a month. You'll help provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night. Homeless young people are afraid and alone. Your monthly donation right now will show them they are loved and safe.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life.
Call or go online now and give just $19 a month. We'll send you this comforting blanket as a reminder of the difference you're making in a young person's life. Call or go online now to safeplacetosleep.org.
And welcome back to Special Report. With Congress officially now well underway in the Trump 2.0 era, there's much to get done, and the promises made must be promises kept. With Republicans holding majorities in both the House and the Senate, the people sent a clear message for the direction of the country.
And as the Senate works to confirm Trump's cabinet nominations, the House has been busy at work introducing new bills to put America first. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia is introducing 2 bills this week, and we want to have her join us to tell us more about them. Welcome back to the show, Congresswoman. Always great to see you.
Hi, good to see you too.
Absolutely. Well, Congresswoman, let's take these bills one by one. The first bill you are introducing would abolish the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID for short. Now, President Kennedy established USAID in 1961 as a way of combating the influence of the Soviet Union abroad during the Cold War, and the agency has well outlived the USSR, of course. President Trump put a 90-day freeze on foreign aid, and your bill would aim to end USAID altogether. Tell us the reason you drafted this bill and how it will help the American people.
Well, I actually tried to defund USAID last year, about 7 months ago. I introduced an amendment when we were going through all of the government funding back in the summer, and only 80 of my Republican colleagues voted with me to defund USAID. Well, I think America has been in shock over the past week or even less than a week as the DOJ team and many others online have uncovered all the absurd things that American hard-earned tax dollars go funding USAID. It'll be interesting to see if my Republican colleagues have changed their mind on how they voted last summer. And after all the horrific things that USAID has been exposed for funding, things like transgender surgeries in foreign countries, things like, you name it, NGOs that undermine the Republican Party, all types of things. The BBC, even the BBC is funded by USAID. USAID is not funding for, things that Americans have hearts for, like just helping hungry children. USAID is hard-earned tax dollars, Americans' money, used to fund some of the worst things around the world, spreading social movements, the same thing George Soros funds, funding the illegal invasion of our southern border, funding private companies, if you can even imagine such a thing. And so USAID has been fully exposed, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. So I'm reintroducing the bill to completely abolish USAID. At $36 trillion in debt, Americans' hard-earned tax dollars don't need to go anywhere outside of America right now. It needs to stay right here at home, and we can make that giant cut in spending.
Absolutely. I think it's way overdue to be taking a closer look at where this funding is going. And I'm happy that you brought up DOJ as well. Your bill's introduction comes at the same time as Elon Musk's review of government bureaucracy under the Department of Government Efficiency, for which you are a chair of a subcommittee on this. Musk is no fan of USAID either. He's actually called it a criminal organization. So do you think it's fair to say that USAID's days are numbered?
Absolutely. The days are numbered. And serving as the chairwoman of the DOJ committee, we are lining up in sync with what DOJ, the Department of Government Efficiency, is working on. And so this only made sense. It was the right time to introduce this bill. And I hope to see strong Republican support in the House and in the Senate, because I know President Trump would definitely sign it into law.
Congresswoman, just to follow up really quickly, why do you think a lot of your Republican colleagues have not been behind this? Is it because we have this feeling that we have to give aid to foreign countries and it's our duty to do? What would be a reason for them not wanting to end it, knowing the corruption that's within it?
You know, Beau, if I had an answer to that question, I could solve all the problems here in Washington, D.C. I wish I could. It's probably a mix of all kinds of reasons. Some are probably innocent and some are extremely nefarious. After all, this is Congress and this is the swamp. But I also introduced a second bill. This is a former Congressman Louis Gohmert bill, who I'm extremely fond of and miss him greatly serving here in Congress. And this bill that I'll be introducing this week will make English the official language of the United States of America. And I think this is extremely important as we are turning very hard into an America and Americans first response. And English should be recognized as the official language of the United States. I'll give you guys a quick stat. There's approximately 178 countries around the world that have an official language. And there's something like less than 5 countries around the world that don't have an official language. And for some reason, the United States is one of those. So it's time to make English the official language.
Yeah, I must admit my ignorance here. I didn't even know that English wasn't our official language. I mean, that just seems like common sense. Why do you think that no previous president or lawmaker has aimed to do this before? And if some reason your bill does fail, does it open up problems for our country?
Well, I think we're already in big problems. And again, if I could answer your question, I could solve the problems here in Washington. But after all, I do serve in Congress, and Congress is completely responsible for the $36 trillion in debt for the American people. Congress is responsible for funding decades of foreign wars. Congress is responsible for the invasion across our southern border. Congress is responsible for all the problems that Americans are suffering with high inflation, over-regulation, high taxes. Congress is responsible for these things. So it should be no surprise that Congress never made English the official language of the United States of America.
And I think Emily's honestly like a lot of people out there. I bet most people don't even know that English isn't our official language. But then again, if you listen sometimes as people around you, you realize that sometimes people don't have a good grasp of the language in and of itself. So we should make it an official language. Congresswoman, it seems that Trump's tariff threats have had their intended effect, with Mexico and Canada now groveling for a 30-day pause as they commit resources to fighting drug trafficking and boost border enforcement. This seems to be the art of the deal in motion. Do you think President Trump gets his way in these two countries back to some level of economic parity and cooperation?
Absolutely. I think President Trump, well, he's already been successful, and I think he will continue to be even more successful, to the shock and awe of the Democrats that constantly root against him and try to put him in jail for the rest of his life. And even many Democrats that were upset that he was not assassinated this past summer on that stage in Pennsylvania. But here's the reality. President Trump is the first president we've had for a long time that has actually fought for America and fought for the American people. And both the southern and northern border have been controlled by the Mexican cartels, whether or not Canada wants to admit that or not. But it's true. And fentanyl has been pouring across our borders, killing approximately close to 300 Americans every single day. Human trafficking funds the Mexican cartels by tens of billions of dollars. You're damn right it's time that we had a president that stood up for America and uses the power of the American economy, our buying power, our American buying power, to tell Canada and Mexico they need to get in place and they need to secure the borders with the United States and stop allowing the murder of American citizens that's happening every single day. And thank God for President Trump. Thank God that he actually stood up and said he would impose 25% tariffs. And anybody that claims that's going to hurt Americans, they are absolute fools. The two economies that would suffer at those tariffs would be Mexico and Canada. And we will continue to make sure that they stay in line.
Yeah, absolutely, Congresswoman. It's been so impressive to see all the things that President Trump has been able to get accomplished in his short time in office here. And I think you're second in line to the hardest working person in D.C. I want to ask you about another bill that you introduced with Thomas Massie. It's to end the Department of Education. That's another monster bureaucratic agency, and our students are still struggling. What will ending the Department of Education do to help our kids receive better education?
This is a very simple concept, and I'm grateful to my friend and colleague, Congressman Thomas Massie from Kentucky, for introducing this legislation, and I was so happy to co-sponsor. Ending the Department of Education transfers the power back to the states and allows the states to have all the money, keep it themselves, to fund education in their state. This is one of the most important things we can do to shrink the size of the federal government, rein in the out-of-control policies, practices, and spending of the federal government. Take it out of the hands of crazy, insane women like Randy Weingarten, the president of the teachers union, and put it back in the states where parents can have more control over their children's education. We feel like this is the right thing to do, and so does President Trump, who is definitely looking. He went after USAID first. You better bet the Department of Education is next.
And Congresswoman, I want to get your thoughts on this too. This is very interesting to me. Another just bold move by Donald Trump. He signed an executive order to create a sovereign wealth fund, which is a state-owned investment portfolio used to buy stocks, bonds, precious metals, expected to be created in the next 12 months. What do you think of that? Because that's something I had never heard of before. And I thought, well, that's also designed to, again, put America first and give us a better economic hedge. What did you think of that?
I think it's extremely brilliant. You know, the Democrats always attack President Trump, but he is a billionaire for a reason, because he's a successful businessman, and he is treating the federal government like a business. This is what any successful business owner would do for their employees. Set up a fund where they can invest and you know, increase their wealth for the future. Doing this for America is absolutely the right thing to do, and it will help grow our revenue so that we can start digging our way out of debt. Again, President Trump is making big and bold moves that are drastic changes. And with every drastic change, people are going to be shocked and talk about what are the effects of this. But look, we have to make these changes, because if we continue on the road that we're on, we are literally all going to fall together. And that's what the Democrats need to realize.
Well, change is certainly underway. Congresswoman, we always appreciate you joining Special Report. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you,
Thank you for having me.
All right, we will be right back with more on Special Report.
Allegiance Flag Supply believes American flags should be made in America.
Our symbol of freedom made outside our borders, that did not sit right.
Join us in our mission to keep the American flag truly American. Don't settle for flags made elsewhere.
Every flag is proudly crafted in the USA with superior materials.
Visit showallegiance.com to order your high-quality, made-in-America flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
When a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name, it's a race against time to stop the theft of your hard-earned equity.
Many people don't know this has happened until long after it's done.
You as the homeowner think you still own a house. 3 months later, you start getting foreclosure notices, and you realize you've got 4 mortgages on your house that you didn't even know existed.
So when's the last time you checked on the title to your home? Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
Welcome back to Special Report. The winter weather is frigid in locations across the United States, and many are now getting sick. How can we avoid catching these viral infections? Well, our next guest has the answers, along with some very interesting thoughts about RFK Jr. possibly becoming Health and Human Services Secretary. We are very happy to welcome back to the show Dr. Drew Pinsky. Welcome, Dr. Drew.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
It's great to see you. Well, obviously, the big news recently were the 2-day confirmation hearings for RFK Jr. and his advancement to the full chamber. How do you think Kennedy did?
I think he did great. I mean, I talked to him about a week before this all went down, and he was telling me, he goes, it's just, there's so much work to be done, you wouldn't believe it. One of the things I think he intends to do is take out a RICO action against the various medical publications that are clearly colluding from an editorial standpoint and are overtly influenced by pharmaceutical dollars. I thought it was interesting. My wife ran out and bought a onesie from the Children's Health Defense Fund, and they'd actually had sold out already, and but they were getting a special tens of thousands of shipments in with the special promo code Bernie. So we now have one for our granddaughter. But he knows what he's doing. He's the right man for this job right now. His expertise is taking complicated systems, dismantling them, and looking at adulterating influences. That's what he's going to do here.
Yeah, Dr. Drew, I don't even think Bernie Sanders knew what a onesie was before his staff.
No, I don't think so.
I think he thought onesie was what you do when you go to the bathroom and you got to go number one. That's my opinion. But speaking of those Democrats, do you think it's interesting, Dr. Drew, that so many of those Democrats who were grilling him on both days are recipients of large amounts of pharmaceutical campaign donations?
Millions and millions of dollars. And I tweeted something that got something like 5 million hits. I said, look, there is all this data that came out of the 90s that shows that physicians' judgment is changed when they accept gifts from pharmaceutical companies. So there's a general ethical standard in my profession that you do not allow pharmaceutical companies into your office, and you don't take anything more than you don't even take a pen from them, lest it should adulterate your decision making. Now, so I can't accept a pen from a pharmaceutical company that, by the way, might be able to provide some free medication for my patients. Still, no, I don't do it. Don't get near them. But these people who are making major decisions about healthcare, they can accept millions and millions of dollars of campaign contributions, and somehow we're supposed to think that doesn't adulterate their decision making? Give me a break. They should be held the same standard as us. That's it, period.
Yeah, hopefully we do see that accountability moving forward as well. And, Dr. McCullough had a bold discourse Substack. It had an amazing list of all these so-called conspiracy theories that accused Kennedy of supporting that actually turned out to be true. Why do you think so many are in denial about the truth?
Well, aren't we seeing now that there was this very dark, deep state alignment against anything other than an approved narrative? I had no idea this was going on, but this USAID, and God knows there's going to be more coming, of these interests that are aligned, and it's still going on. It hasn't stopped yet, but the ferocity of it has. People can begin to talk again. Scientists can begin to discourse a little bit. But yes, things that were conspiracy theories 6 months ago, 6 years ago, lo and behold, end up being true in a significant majority of cases.
Dr. Drew, it was really interesting to see COVID and our failed response finally be an issue. Do you think that we will ever have a real reckoning about our response and the failures that happened on such a basic level?
I do. I think we will. There's still more to be told about the particular vaccine choices, the vaccine mandates, the ethics of this. We're going to have Jay Bhattacharya in the National Institute of Health and the NIH, because it literally is a poetic, it's Shakespearean that after what that man went through, and he's such a wonderful human being and a consummate scientist and teacher, that man will head up the NIH. Yes, he will see to it that we get some real information out, and it's going to take some time, but we have to get there because we can't let this happen again.
Yeah. Well, this definitely isn't RFK related, but we continue to see that the so-called quademic of viral infections are circulating in this country. It continues to rise. What is the latest, and what can people do to keep themselves safe? Also, which medical kit should they have on hand? Beau, our fabulous Vanna White here.
We got travel emergency. We've got contagion. What else do we have, Michelle?
They're great kits. The blue kit is sort of the starter kit for most people, I would say. But the travel kit was something I put together because I'm always giving my patients actually not even the entirety of what's in that kit. I wish I'd given my patients everything that's in that kit every time they travel because they need it. It's useful almost wherever you're traveling. You should have a kit like that on hand. My son got enterotoxigenic E. coli once out on the road, and it was one of the scariest experiences I've ever been through. And I thought I'm never going out without the antibiotics I need. But little did I know that I was going to be in a fire zone. You guys were asking about the fire, and the fires here happened because of, guess what? Government failure. And guess what? During COVID, we learned that the government can overreach and paralyze us. So it really is incumbent upon all of us to be ready and prepared. And that's what this is, rational readiness.
Multiple times in which this is extremely fundamental. Dr. Drew, thank you so much for being with us.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
And we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Be back in a moment.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor and I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later and I've got much better range of motion. I'm able to carry these big canvases around. I'm just very, very grateful that I gave the product a try.
If pain is affecting your life, give Relief Factor a try. Call or go online. Get your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Throughout its history, the mission of Hillsdale College has been to develop the minds and improve the hearts of its students. As a commitment to this mission, every student signs an honor code. A Hillsdale College student is honorable in conduct, honest in word and deed, dutiful in study and service, and respectful of the rights of others. Through education, the student rises to self-government.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone is more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
Increased tariffs on our trade partners, tax cuts and regulation changes. Learn why gold is a viable diversification tactic now more than ever. Birch Gold, the only gold company you should trust, is releasing their ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. To get your free copy along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold, text America to the number 989898.
Here's the facts. The national debt continues to increase. Interest payments on the national debt continue to increase. Gold is still your hedge against a weakened dollar. And Birch Gold is still the company you should trust to help convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Text America to 989898 for your free copy of the ultimate guide for gold in the Trump era. There's no obligation, only information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews, and thousands of happy customers, you too can trust Birch Gold. Text America to the number 989898 today.
And welcome back to Special Reports. We've been following many of the January 6th prisoners who have been recently pardoned by President Trump to find out what their lives before, during, and post-conviction are like. Something that many of them are having to navigate in the aftermath is their careers, as we discussed yesterday with J6 mom Rachel Powell.
In the same predicament is a Hollywood actor who was charged and arrested on June 7th, 2023. Now, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison in 2024, but was recently pardoned in President Trump's sweeping executive action in becoming president. We want to speak to him now, bringing him live onto the show to learn more about the incident and aftermath. So welcome in Jay Johnston. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Jay, I find your story quite unique, as we have similar paths actually in Chicago, with you attending Columbia College and I at Northwestern. You went on to appear in Mr. Show with Bob and David, Arrested Development, and Anchorman. You also famously voiced the role of Jimmy Pesto in the animated series Bob's Burgers.
A lot of fans there, by the way.
So many in our control room. Yeah, they're crazy about this, as I'm sure many watching are. Well, with this backdrop, do it again.
You got to do the voice.
Hey, Bob.
There we go. Well, with that as a backdrop, what actually led you, Jay, to the Capitol on January 6, 2021?
Well, I went there because the First Amendment, basically, I was getting a little bit worried about how things were going with censorship here, and our freedom of speech is the main thing that we have in this country that everything else rests on the shoulders of. So that was very important to uphold that in my mind. And I felt like if I was able to go, I knew other people couldn't go. And I felt like I would just be there with them in mind and standing up for that.
So in March of 2021, the FBI put out a tweet seeking to identify you. And once they identified you, they charged you with felony obstruction of officers during a civil disorder and other misdemeanors. What exactly is it that you did to get this offense?
Well, I was basically part of the crowd, really, was what it was. I sort of wandered around. It was my first protest I've ever been to. So I was kind of trying to figure out what was supposed to happen. So I just kind of wandered around and took a video with my phone. And at one point, I saw some protesters getting kind of bloodied. And I never went in the Capitol. I was in the back of the building. And I saw some protesters getting their heads knocked around, and went up to sort of give them a hand because they were getting maced and or pepper sprayed and tear gas and stuff. So I was pouring water in their faces and eyes to help them wash it out. And then I got a little too close to the action and got caught in a crowd push. And at one point, a shield was passed to me, an officer's shield, and I, like a riot shield, and I took it, and I didn't want it, of course, and I went and handed it back to the police at a very inopportune time, and they were yelling shield wall, so it looked like I was trying to help. And then all my actions were characterized negatively, like I was, in a conspiracy, and they kept saying I was violent when every moment I was there was on video, and I was never violent. So.
Well, Jay, upon learning of your identity, Bob's Burgers swiftly fired you. How did you learn of your firing, and were you surprised about it, or did you try to question their reasons for your termination?
Yeah, no, I definitely did try and question it, because I just learned about it through a bunch of hit pieces that were published, different media outlets saying that... So
they didn't reach out to you? You learned through different outlets?
Yeah, no, I just learned through the media, and
wow.
They that I was banned from the offices, and higher ups in the executives said that I wasn't welcome there, and that I was blacklisted, and that type of thing in LA, in Hollywood, and so I called them a few times. I called the creator and could not get a hold of him, not the creator, but the creator of the show. So spoke to the head writer briefly, and that was it. There was no, final anything. They never spoke to me. And I guess the guy who created the show was busy rewriting the movie that I was supposed to record for that week. Rewriting it with me not in it.
So had you not seen that in the media about you, you would have just went to work like it was a normal day.
Well, yeah, and I called my agent, or I talked to my agent. I said, "Do you know about this? Am I fired from Bob's Burgers?" And she said, "Well, I don't know, but we're firing you because we're downsizing or whatever." So that was immediately done, and then that was 4 years ago, and nothing since then. So.
Well, Jay, fortunately, you didn't have to serve time because, of course, President Trump pardoned you recently. Were you relieved when you learned of this pardon?
Yes, it's hard to express how relieved I was. It was quite amazing. I wasn't sure it was going to happen. It's something that, I spent a year and a half getting ready for that, getting ready for sentencing, and who knows how long I would be in prison. But then being faced with that eventuality, I was, it's a lot of stress, and you try and consider how it's going to go for your family and that type of thing. And so it was really wonderful.
Well, Jay, obviously, I mean, you have to think about your career since Bob's Burgers fired you. Do you think that they have actors or crew that they currently employ that also have some sort of nonviolent record that kept their jobs because the offense was not associated with Donald Trump? I mean, do you feel that politically you were persecuted for it?
Oh, yes, definitely. I do. There's no other real way to look at it in my mind. I was on another show at the time on Adult Swim called Mama Named Me Sheriff. And right at that time, they decided to go on a 2-year-long hiatus, which is unheard of. So that was off to firing, I think. But everyone distanced themselves from me. All my friends, all my business, acquaintances, and everybody just turned around and were gone. So
now
very
I'm just curious, now that the times are different, a lot of people waking up to the disastrous past 4 years, have they came back to you? And what's your reaction if they have?
Well, not really. I think it's going to be slow in coming, if at all. The sentiment is changing. The pendulum is swinging back, but it's not instantaneous. And certainly the studios are very skittish in any type of PR situation that has any type of negativity to it. And this certainly had a lot. I mean, the weaponization of the DOJ towards myself and all the other J6ers is astounding and has been horrible. I mean, everything has halted for me, and my fiancée lost her job, because we were, they knew who I was. And my daughter was in a theater class in the summer, and I was called in the morning one day, and they said, "You're sorry, you can't come back. Your family's not welcome here."
Wow.
And they raided our house, early morning raid with like 25 agents on our front lawn, and machine guns and all that. And it was it's been a pretty wild 4 years.
So Jay, what's the situation now with pro-Trump people in Hollywood? Is there a Hollywood blacklist? Does it still exist where people like yourself will have trouble finding work? Or you mentioned the pendulum shifting. So are you still looked at as tainted material that no one can touch, even though you're clearly extremely talented and have had no problem finding work up until now?
Well, it's again, I think that people are a little skittish, and it will take maybe one person to step forward and give me opportunities to audition or that type of thing. Also, it's up to me to present something, to decide to do something, and go after that. Like if I was a stand-up comedian, that would be definitely a route to take. Because I could just...
Or Jay, what about, Trump has appointed Mel Gibson, Jon Voight, and Sylvester Stallone as these ambassadors to Hollywood. And they're big names. Go ahead. Where's your...
We got to get you in there.
We need to get you there. But I mean, those are huge names. Now, granted, these are guys whose careers are kind of, I think, pretty solidified at this point. So it's easier for them to do that, But what about things like Angel Studios? There seems to be other mechanisms out there that allow people like yourself, let's not call them even conservatives, let's just call them just alternative thinkers, to be able to find gainful employment. Yeah.
Yeah, Angel Studios is great, and I think that I'd love to work with them, and perhaps that'll happen sometime in the near future. There's been what was it, 3 days ago or 4 that the pardons came through? Mm-hmm. No, longer than that. But 2 weeks? That's kind of, okay. Well, anyway, I was supposed to report to prison February 6th, so that's like tomorrow or something. So this is all kind of new and just...
A whirlwind of an experience right now, but nonetheless, I'm very glad that you and your family are okay. And thank you so much for coming on and talking about your harrowing experience over the past 4 years.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Jay. And we're big fans, especially in the control room.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Awesome.
Lots of fans in the control room right now.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Of course. And thank you guys for tuning in to yet another edition of Special Report. Be sure to check out all of our Rav'S shows now on iHeart Podcasts. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's time to get your dream kitchen at Cabinets to Go.
Right now, save on every single cabinet in your design. Up to $175 off per cabinet. Come in today and get your dream kitchen for just $148 per month.
Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
Here at Allegiance, we feel like American flags should be made in America.
When we started Allegiance, we were shocked to learn how many American flags were actually being made overseas.
Every flag we make is proudly crafted in the USA with superior materials.
Join us in our mission to keep the American flag truly American.
Visit showallegiance.com to order your high-quality American flag today. That's showallegiance.com.
In a crisis, your number one need is food. But here's the good news. 4 Patriots is offering a special buy one, get 2 free deal on its best-selling 72-hour survival food kits. Hurry, go to 4patriots.com now.
You asked and we heard you, America.
Real America's Voice is coming.